Hey everyone, my name is Liz Beard. This is an IPP presentation on sexual harassment in the workplace. Let's begin. Introduction. This introduction will include background info, the history of sexual harassment, types, further in-depth knowledge or quotations, what can we do to prevent sexual harassment in the workplace. This includes coming forward, sessions, group or alone, and then we hit references and citations. Onward. Background info. So this IPP is not used to offend or hurt anybody. It is to show knowledge about the subject of sexual harassment in the workplace. Not all harassment is sexual. It can be a common misconception that just because there is harassment in the workplace, that there's nothing that we can do to stop it from happening again if this is not sexual. This is incorrect. You can still do something even though it's not sexual. There is not just one type of sexual harassment or harassment in general. Like there's not just one type of person. We must understand that there's going to be different types of harassment, sexual or non, that change the outcome of the situation that the harassment took place in. Great. The history starts in 1964. The Civil Rights Act is passed, the first one anyways. This act prohibits the employment discrimination based on their race, color, sex, religion, or nation origin. Referred to commonly as Title VI. A few years later, we hit 1972, where Title IX is presented. This title prohibits sex discrimination in schools that receive federal funding. In 1980, Supreme Court rules that sexual harassment can be part of the sexual discrimination product of Title VI. As history continued, in 1991, the Civil Rights Act of 1991 was passed. Congress revises Title VI for usually again, adding more protection against discrimination in the workplace. In 1994, Violence Against Women Act of 1994 passed. This limits cases with past history of sexual conduct of the plaintiff in sexual harassment. 1 year later, Government Accountability Act passed. Congress members have the same accountability as the rest of the citizens, so they don't get any special treatment as Congress members or any upper division federal government has had before. So there are two common types of sexual harassment that can take form. The first one is quid pro quo harassment. This is which occurs when an employment benefit is conditioned expressively or implicitly on the submission to an unwelcome sexual event. Usually that is included in what can I give you or what can I get if I have sex with you, which not good in a kind of work environment. The second one is hostile environment harassment. This one is which occurs when a victim's work environment is made hostile or abusive as a result of the harassment. An example would be if a employee, woman or male, was harassed by another employee or a manager, and they couldn't produce the work that they needed to because of that employee or manager. For instance, if say you were given a new job, but you've had sexual harassment charges placed against this person, and you haven't gotten the feedback that you needed to deal with it, then they can make your life hard. Great. So further in depth, according to a research done by a woman named Ryan, last name Ryan, from Sexual Orientation and Harassment in the Workplace, when do observers intervene? I will be reading you a quote from that, which I thought was very informative. Research on sexual harassment in the workplace has indicated that in addition to harassment that is directed towards a specific target, there may also be harassment via a hostile work environment, such that the workplace is one where jokes, innuendos, and slurs against a group affect individuals, even though they are not directly directed specifically at those individuals. Social media presence has become part of the issue with sexual harassment. Everyone puts everything on the internet in this century. Nothing is private anymore. With each post, something someone doesn't want can get out. There's no privacy anymore. It is very not good for a company to be having sexual harassment charges placed against them. Just for employees, it's not good for their image. It's not good for their work ethic. And it pushes down people's morale when they can't do anything about it, because everyone knows it now. Then what can they do about it? I will be reading another quote by a woman empowerment group. They go by AAUW. Sexual harassment is a form of sex discrimination that violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Very generally, sexual harassment describes unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical conduct. The behavior does not have to be sexual, however, and can include offensive remarks about a person's sex. So, just because you're gay or lesbian or anything, it still qualifies as sexual harassment. It's harassment in general, so you can still tell people about that. What can be done to help? So there's a lot that you can do, or as a person you can do, as a group you can do. The prevention includes informing staff members, employees, or upper management that any sort of harassment will not be tolerated and will have consequences. Group sessions, trainings about sexual harassment regularly to get an understanding that this will not be allowed in a workplace. Training sessions to help with understandings the types of harassment, as well as what can be done to help someone who is in this type of situation, or what can you do as a person to having problems with sexual harassment or any harassment. If you are having problems with sexual harassment, go to your manager and the HR, not just one or the other. Talk to both. If you are having problems with your manager, then go to the next in line, like upper management. And also talk to the HR department to see what you can do, if you're going to have to be transferred, if you're going to have to put in a different group, those types of things. Also, come forward. It may not be easy, but there needs to be a line drawn when or where these harassment issues are able to get out in the open, discussed and dealt with. Remember that you are not alone. You're not the first person or the last to have this problem with others. It is very understanding that some might be scared to come forward, that they're going to be punished for it, but any harassment, especially sexual, is not okay. So definitely come forward in this aspect. My references, there are many that I have included in this presentation, some that I believe will help others. And thank you for your time. Great.